When you take the Axiom Discus assessments, you will generate scores across each of those 4 attributes: dominance, influence, steadiness and compliance. And we can plot those scores across a series of graphs that allow us to find out a bit more about you. We have an internal profile, an external profile, a summary profile and a shift pattern. The internal profile looks at your true motivations and desires. So based upon your responses to the assessments, we can understand what your graph tells us about how ideally you would like to be in the perfect working environment. Often this reflects how you are outside of the workplace and sometimes actually reflects how you respond in pressure environments. The second graph is what we call your external profile or your work mask. All of us, when we go into our workplace, have to adapt from our ideal self in order to fit within the culture of an organisation, in order to complete the tasks that we're required to do and to interact with our colleagues around us. Consequently, we will shift from our ideal self to create a work mask. The shift pattern, that 4th graph there, shows us in which ways you are adapting when you go into the workplace. So if you have a high dominance in your internal profile and you have a low dominance score in your external profile, the shift pattern will show us that your D drops. And that suggests that you're being more compliant and less assertive on your day-to-day basis in the workplace. Now the true you sits somewhere between the internal and external profile. And that's what the summary profile is. It's the amalgamation of those 2 graphs and gives a much more accurate depiction of who you are. We can extrapolate the information from that profile to create your style card, which you can read about below and in subsequent videos. Obviously, in an ideal world, those 3 graphs would marry. Your external profile would be an exact replica and mirror of how you are outside of the workplace, in which case we will see virtually no shift pattern, and your summary profile would mirror the previous 2. But very rarely does that happen. And that's what makes this assessment so unique, is that we can look at those nuances of how you're adapting from your ideal self to understand potentially how this could be a cause of pressure for you. So now we need to find out about your individual scores for dominance, influence, steadiness and compliance. And you can find that out below. But also we'll be able to look more deeply at how the shift pattern in your unique graph is impacting your performance in the workplace. In those situations where your external profile may be a complete reversal of your internal profile, we get a very flat summary profile. And flat and compressed graphs can be an indication of stress, pressure, uncertainty in the workplace. If you find your graph is very compressed and you would like to ask more about it and talk with us, please make sure you reach out to us via the contact page on your report.